Hey guys, glad to be back with you for another edition of the Coach's Corner Show presented by PES. Been a long time since we've had Bobcats head coach David O'Connor with us, but we're excited to dive right in. Week 8 of the high school football season. Wade Neely here, going to break things down. Coach, first of all, welcome back. We had the bye week last week, so we took a week off to retool and recalibrate.
Always a pleasure, Wade. It was a good week off. I enjoyed the break. Our kids enjoyed a little bit of a break. You know, we took a little bit of time off on Monday, watched some video, did some weightlifting. Tuesday was a work day for us as we worked for next year, really. We worked a lot of sophomores and freshmen and worked to see what we're going to have next year. We let some of the older guys work on what we call injury prevention, which was a lot of movement stuff, working on keeping their muscles ready to play the game of football. We did that on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we got a work day in, trying to get ready for the Patriots that are coming in this week. And we took Friday off, we took Sunday off. You know, we got some time off. But we still worked on the game of football.
Always exciting when you get the chance to rest up some nagging injuries, some wounds of sorts, I guess, for you guys.
No doubt about it. You know, we have a lot of kids that are banged up. We probably went through 3 or 4 fullbacks already this year, and we went through a couple different tight ends. Those guys are slowly starting to come back, and if we can get all hands on board, we might make a little push at the end.
Coach, let's talk. We had the bye week last week. It's fall break this week. We caught you just after practice today. How's that transition? You have a bye week one week, and then you have fall break next week. You guys are practicing early in the morning all week this year.
Yeah, this week it's really nice. We're practicing every day at 7. We're going to try to get done early in the morning so that actually get the kids out of bed so they'll have some time during the day to do some things. And I really like it. Our kids are really fresh. We've had 2 really good days of practice. You know, I'm not sure what it's going to look like tomorrow and Thursday, but I know they're excited about it. I know Thursday we're going at 7, and then we're going to have the parents are doing a pancake breakfast for us afterwards. So, you know, it's pleasurable, plus we get some time off.
I imagine you have no problems getting up at 7 a.m. You're good to go on that?
Well, you know, unfortunately, that's the time I go to work every day, so I'm kind of good with it. I'm not sure if all the kids are good with it.
Yeah, good deal. Coach, let's go back even further. Let's go back in the vault 2 weeks ago. Giles County goes on the road to grab a big win at Spring Hill, 56-39. After that game, you said the offense maybe played one of its best games it's played all season. The defense, still some work to do, but let's start with the offense from a couple weeks ago.
I thought offensively we played really well. I thought we ran the ball well. We ran for 270. We threw for right at 300, a little over 300. That's about as good of a game as you could have offensively. One series we got behind the chains. We didn't perform. We didn't get ourselves out of that jam. We had to punt once. Other than that, I thought we played a fine offensive game. I thought John threw the ball well downfield. I think KJ Ziegler had his best offensive game of the year. You know, he had a great game against Columbia, but I think that was more of a signature game because he made some tough catches in crowds. I thought he had a great game. Arkell ran for over 100 yards. Cameron Harrison come in late in the fourth quarter, and he had some really nice runs. So I'm really excited about where things are going offensively.
John, you mentioned a great night for him. 18 of 23 for 313 yards, multiple touchdowns. That's about as efficient as you can get at the high school level.
It was, and on top of that, he ran for about 65 yards. And it was a really nice night for John. A really just offensive line, I think, took care of him well that night. And he ran the ball well and threw the ball well, a lot of total yards. It was just a really good night.
You mentioned KJ. How important was it to get your wide receiver? He's just a sophomore. He had a couple bad weeks in a row. How important was it to get his confidence going for the second half of the season?
It was really good. I mean, really, it's important because he and Knox Birdsong, 2 sophomores that play on the outside for us, you know, they are both really good young receivers. It's just a matter of them getting in games where John's progression takes it to them, and they're the number 1 receiver on that route.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of guys catching balls, even Tyler Barnett back in the offense. Seems like this offense through the air and on the ground right now kind of developing into where we want to be eventually.
It is. I think we're spreading around. I think we've got a lot of weapons on offense, and fortunately for Tyler Barnett, he finally caught a touchdown this past or 2 weeks ago that counted. You know, there had been 2 others he'd caught during the year that got called back. He'd been really snake bit. He got one in the end zone, and I know he was really excited about it.
It was big for him. We mentioned defensively there were some woes. Obviously, some of that's due to Spring Hill's potent offense. When you go back, you watch tape, what do you remember about Spring Hill offensively? Why were they so successful running the ball against you?
They have a really good running back. The Smith kid's a really good runner. And what he could do that some of the other kids that we played couldn't do is when he got to the open field, he could just outrun you. And that's what he did a couple different times. And, you know, it doesn't take too many 70-yard runs to add up to big yards. That's what he had.
Yeah, he had over 240 on the ground. Multiple quarterback look for Spring Hill. They've just got talent to burn, but the Cats were able to grind out a win. What did you see positive from your defense 2 weeks ago?
Well, I saw we got some stops when we needed some stops. You know, one time we got a really big stop, and Austin Norwood was just right there on the edge of the end zone coming out or going in, and ended up getting called going back in. We give them the ball back, give them 2 points, and give them the ball back. So, you know, it was just a tough play. Could have went either way. They ruled it one way during the game. They come back, overturned it. But that's a series that we give them more than one opportunity and points. But eventually, we did get some stops, and that's something that Spring Hill's defense didn't do.
Speaking of takeaways, how about that one in the third? I believe it was third quarter. Keegan Potter just rips the ball away from their wide receiver. How much bragging and boasting did Keegan have going on last week when he's talking about the takeaway there?
I don't know if Keegan bragged near as much about his interception, but he made one heck of a run after the thing. He looked like a pinball going down through a pinball machine bouncing around off people. He's a really special runner, too. He's a guy that just moved in from Ardmore right before the season started and has done a really good job for us. I'm really proud of him.
He's fantastic. It was a great turnover and, like you mentioned, a great return. Let's break it down defensively. How did the line look? We know those big three guys up front. If they do well, the Cats usually do well.
I thought they had a pretty good job. I felt like we did decent at times at linebacker. We just lost some lane coverage at times and lost some leverage by our DBs. And at the end of the day, Spring Hill had enough speed that when they got out into some open space, they could go score with it, and they did.
Second level linebackers, how did Key McDonald, how did some of those other guys look on tape?
Some really good plays and some really bad plays. Just the way, just as you would expect with young kids that hadn't played just a ton of football. But I tell you what, I think Colton Teagarden, and I think all those guys are improving every week, and it's just a matter of them continuing to improve and not becoming satisfied with where they're at.
Finally, Trent and Tanner, those guys in the backfield, how disappointed do you think they were? They see Dante Smith turn that corner and they say, there's no way I can just catch this guy.
Well, I think there was a couple times Tanner come over to the side. He said, Coach, he's fast. He was fast. He said, one time, the first time he broke out there, I had a little bit of an angle and I caught him. The second time, Coach, I didn't have the angle and he just outrun me. And he was fast. So, at some point you got to just say they did their job. The other team, they're coached as well. They've got good players, and sometimes they make plays.
We had an aerial view from the press box, and when he took that edge, it was
Katie bar the door.
It was a thing of beauty offensively. Finally, third phase of the game, special teams. What do you recall? Anything? You mentioned a punt. Obviously, don't like to punt, but got a couple decent kicks away this season thus far when you need to on fourth down.
I was really proud. I thought Knox stepped in, had a really nice punt, pinned them down there deep, kind of flipped the field for us at that one time. And then our kickoff game, I thought it was much better than it had been the week before. And we made a couple nice returns on the kickoff return team. Of course, our extra point game was good. So I felt like the kicking game, we won that part of the game, which might have been the difference in the game. Big
win for the Cats against Spring Hill. We'll talk more about Page in just a minute, but you mentioned the bye week. Cats get rested. Page was on a bye week as well. It was their fall break last week. It's the Cats' fall break this week. We're back at the Brickyard coming up this Friday night.
That's right. I'm excited about the 12th man getting in here. I like the atmosphere we have in here on a Friday night. It's a little adversity for our fans this week because, we've got a fall break and they've got a lot of people gone out of town. I hope everybody gets back in time Friday for the big game.
Good deal. Well, Coach, we'll talk more about that big game coming up here in just a second. Alongside Bobcats head coach David O'Connor, Wayne Neely going to break it down as the Bobcats take on Page here at the Brickyard this Friday. We'll be back in just a moment. Here, you're watching the Coach's Corner Show presented by PES.
Here in Tennessee, when opportunity knocks,
First Farmers is here.
A full-service bank with deep roots.
First Farmers is here.
Loans to help businesses grow and families plan for the future.
First Farmers is here.
The technology you need to manage your personal finances.
First Farmers is here.
As Middle Tennessee continues to grow, First Farmers, we're here.
At the Giles County Courthouse, judges and jurors make decisions every day that significantly affect people's lives. Jurors may decide who goes to the penitentiary. Judges may choose which parent will raise children. Both could decide how your heirs share in your property. If you are confronting any of these difficult legal issues in your life or business, please allow the experienced lawyers at Andrew Hoover and Attorneys to be with you in every step.
I'm a weekend warrior, and soccer is one of my passions. But when I sprained my ankle, I thought that was all over. But I went to Benchmark Physical Therapy. I was treated with manual therapy. My progress was measured each step of the way. I put in the time, the reps, the work to get my ankle ready for anything. So now, it's like it never happened.
Have you been thinking about getting back in shape? Or maybe you're an avid exerciser looking for something different? Come check us out at P-Town Strength and Fitness, where we offer a wide variety of functional movements, systematically programmed to help you get started and maximize your physical potential. Enjoy the sense of community, camaraderie, and teamwork in our one-of-a-kind group setting that will assist you in your quest for physical well-being. For more information, check us out on Facebook at P-Town Strength and Fitness or stop by at 200 East Jefferson Street in Pulaski.
I've got my closest friends over to watch the game on cable. Did you know you can advertise your local business during this cable program? Via Media represents the advertising for your cable system. They could put a TV commercial for you right here on this system during this show. Let Via Media help you. Call Via Media today or viamediatv.com.
Hey guys, second half of the Coach's Corner Show presented by PES underway right here alongside Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. Way neither glad to be with you. Coach, Page Week, bringing back some old memories. Been a lot of tough games when you were here before. There was a lot of tough games in between. Probably going to be a tough one Friday night when the Patriots come calling.
Oh, no doubt about it. They are a solid offensive team, a really good defensive team. They're young, too. That's the crazy part. Coach Rathbone's he's starting a freshman at tailback, a kid that's a hard-nosed runner, sticks it up in there. It's going to be a tough contest.
Page always, it seems like they alternate. One year they have a really talented quarterback. One year they have a really talented running back. Some years they have both, and it sounds like this year their offense is about as diverse as it can get.
It is. They're solid. Their little quarterback, he's throwing for about 1,400 yards. They run the ball really well. And defensively, they get after it. They're always a tough draw defensively for the Bobcats.
3-0, Page sits in the region. Obviously, that's a huge number to keep your eyes on. Giles County's 2-1. A lot of focus on this game, not just between these two teams, but teams across the state. This is a game with huge playoff seeding implications potentially here Friday night.
It is. The team that wins will probably get to host a first-round playoff game, and I think that's important to our kids. And I know it's important to Coach Rathbone and his guys too. But the good thing we have is that we have this one here, and we're kind of looking at it as the first-round playoff game already. We have this first-round playoff game at home Friday night, and we could get that 12th man out here. I know our people are going to be here, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. Give us something to give our kids a reason to just keep battling through those tough times.
Yeah, one of only 2 home games left for the Cats. We'll talk more on that in a minute. But let's talk X's and O's real quick. Offensively, Cats have been working on some things. We've seen them installing some new packages. Are we about as close to a fully functioning offense as we're going to see this year?
We are. I think we pretty much have put everything in. Now it's a matter of how we dabble in our toolbox every week and what we pull out.
Coach, let's talk about John Bacchus. How does he approach this game this week? He's been battling a little bit of a lingering injury, but he's been battling through it every single week. And we mentioned in our first segment here, 18 of 23. He's one of the more efficient quarterbacks, not just in the state of Tennessee, in the nation in regards to juniors passing the ball right now.
He is. He's a really solid quarterback. I mean, he has been a welcome addition to the Bobcat team. You throw him in there with a bunch of kids that we already had. I think we got as good a football team as anybody in the state. It's a matter of coming out every Friday night and putting that and doing our job.
Let's talk running the ball. How good is Arkell Reed? This is a guy, also like John, been battling some injuries throughout the year, but he continues to just embrace that starting running back role as he kind of develops. He's winding down in his senior year, but he's really still kind of improving, it appears.
Hey, hats off to Arkell, too. He's battling an injury. He's got a bum shoulder and had it all year. He's battling through it, and a lot of times he's running like a one-armed man. He just has no other arm, and he's taking the ball in his good hand. But the best part about Arkell is he's not just a run-the-ball running back. He's a dual-threat running back. He catches the ball out of the backfield. Here in the last few weeks, he's almost caught for as many yards as he's run for. He's a tough tough running back to defend.
They say a well-blocked screen is a thing of beauty. You've seen 2 of them in 2 weeks for Arkell when John dumps it off to him. Seems like his vision is there, but it seems like the blocking downfield has been really there.
Really good, but 90% of that is Arkell. Arkell sets those blocks up and uses those guys and does a really good job with it. And all that aside, Arkell may be the best blocking running back I've ever had.
Let's talk offensive line. Speaking of blocking, Coach John Kirk, he's been whipping these guys into shape all year. Where would you grade the progress of your O-line as you come into a tough matchup Friday night against Page?
I think we're slowly building some depth, and we're going to have some of that depth this week. We've got some kids banged up. Brighton Westmoreland, he sprained his ankle a little bit at Spring Hill last week, and so Crockett Gibson stepped right in and took over and did some really fine things. We've had some sickness this week, and Crockett's probably going to get a shot to start at right tackle this week. We're banged up a little bit, but we're building depth slowly. I think Coach Kirk's doing a fine job with that, but a lot of that is that senior leadership we have out of Jared Roberts at right guard. He started their year at center. He's moved to right guard. He could really play anywhere on the offensive line and would be a heck of a defensive lineman too. He's been a really good leader as far as helping and bringing those younger guys along. And then Brighton Westmoreland, the kid that didn't get to play much last year, has done a heck of a job for us at left guard this year.
You mentioned Jared Roberts. He's been on the radio a couple times with us this year. I've heard rumors that he's one of the better trash talkers in the game from some of his peers. How would you evaluate his gift of gab on the field?
I'm going to say no comment on that. I don't want to elaborate on that very much. I would think that Jared lets most of his play do the talking, and then after that, I'm not sure what happens.
Well, his play has certainly been good. We look forward to that matchup. Defensively, what kind of schemes? Coach Rathbone, we know he loves to call the defense. What sort of schemes are you anticipating out of the Patriots Friday night?
They're going to be moving around. They like to bring linebacker pressures. They like to play a lot of man coverage, zero coverage in the secondary, and try to bring one more than we can block. I think Coach Rathbone does a really good job. Been doing a really good job up there for years. It's going to be a tough draw for us.
Let's flip the script. Obviously, we talked in the open about the Patriot offense. They've had some really talented throwers over the years. They've had some really good rushers over the years. Kind of balanced this year, but their quarterback is capable of making plays. How will the scheme look for Giles County defensively this week?
It's a tough draw. They are a spread offense. They like to run the inside zone. They like to run the stretch, and then like to play action. And they've got 4 or 5 receivers that are all pretty good football players. It's a tough matchup. In general, they are a perimeter pass run team, but they got a little 9th grade running back that don't mind sticking his nose in there. He's a pretty tough little runner.
You mentioned Crockett Gibson, kind of a newcomer offensively this week. Who are some guys maybe going to slowly start trickling in? We've seen C.J. Bryant get some tick, some really nice plays here, forcing fumbles and whatnot. Who are some other youngsters maybe eyeballing this week?
Well, Colton Teagarden's got to where he's playing a good bit at linebacker, doing a fine job. And of course, Colton Huckabee, he's been banged up. He's had a bad knee that he's still trying to overcome and get back to full strength. But really, we are who we are on defense. Probably we're going to try to start seeing Arkell Reed a little bit more linebacker. I think he's one of the better players on our team, and we got to get him more involved both sides.
I was going to say, how exciting might that be? You talk about one of your best players. It's like a new Ferrari. You kind of get tossed the keys. It's like, well, we can use him on defense now as you get later in the year, and that becomes more of a necessity.
That's right. And the weather's cooled off. He's always had a little bit of a cardiovascular problem, being able to keep his wind going. But as it's cooled off, I think he can go both ways, and he can give us a big, well-needed help on defense, because when he brings a pretty good punch.
Speed in the secondary, how important will that be for the Bobcats to fly to the football, whether that means shutting down the run or staying at home and defending the pass?
It's always big. Number one thing secondary's got to do is they got to stop the big play. They may break a run, but we need to tackle them within 10 yards. They may make a pass. They're going to complete some. Everybody that we play has coaches that try to game plan us, and they come up with things that could beat us. They're going to catch some. We got to tackle them. You got to get them down, make them play the next play. The more times they have to snap the ball, the better the chance is they're going to make an error.
Final few questions here. We mentioned special teams. How critical is that phase of the game? Page has been phenomenal in the special teams game over the year. But the Cats have been coming on strong this year as well, whether it be punt, kickoff, or kickoff even return we've seen at times this year.
That's right. It is going to be a big part of it. I really think our kicking game has improved as the year's gone along. We had one bad game. Other than that, I think we've kind of won the kicking game, and the rest of them, the key to it is win them all.
Yeah, very, very good point there. Final thing, I guess, we mentioned John orchestrating the offense. Against Spring Hill, it really seemed like he just took what the defense gave him. Is that going to be more how the offense develops as the year goes on, just see what the defense is going to give that talented quarterback?
That's really the way we like to play our offensive game. And that's really our offensive game plan every week. You know, that's the reason that we won't have, or we try not to have, the same guy have the same big game every week, because we're going to try to take what the defense allows us to have. And the way they line up just gives you some things sometimes. So that's the reason KJ Ziegler might catch 8 passes this week, and Tyler Barnett may catch them the next week. We're going to try to spread the ball around, give what they take what they give us, and just capitalize and keep moving the chains.
Coach, we're back here at the Brickyard Friday night. It feels good to be back, first of all. I know you're probably excited. Big game coming up Friday night against Page. Final thoughts on this huge region contest?
It's a big game. First round of the playoffs as far as I'm concerned. If we win here, we get to host the first round, and I don't think there could be anything better for this group of kids. You know, we've got a great group of kids. Wouldn't trade them for anybody. And they deserved to host that first round game. Now they got to go out and earn it.
Coach, that's all the time we've got. Best of luck on Friday night against the Patriots.
Appreciate it, Wade. Always a pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. That was Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. I'm Wade Neely, signing off. Again, Friday night, Giles County taking on the Patriots of Page. We hope to see you here. We'll be live at Sam Davis Park. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. We'll see you next Tuesday right here on the Coach's Corner Show, as always, presented by PES.